Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Train Tuesday. So glad to see you. And man, I just got back from Train Fest. What a great show. Glad to see that train show back. So let's see who's joining us. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit later. But I see Mr. David Reynolds is here. BN Green 1970. I got to talk to you at the show. Ronald is here. Derek, Jason, DG Model Works is in the house. Mr. Sid is also in the house. Anthony, Brody, and Train Jack 16, just to name a few. So glad you could join me here tonight during the live presentation of Train Tuesday. If you're catching me after the fact on YouTube later on, do me a favor, like and subscribe the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into the channel. And go ahead and comment. I try to answer as many questions as possible, and it's just another fun way to interact with you all. Now, as I said, I just got back from Train Fest in Milwaukee, and it was great to be back. It was not around last year. It was kind of on a slight hiatus, but it sounds like it's back. And next year, it will be back in its former location at the West Allis Fairgrounds. And really looking forward to seeing all of my friends from the Milwaukee, Chicago area once again. So if you got to stop by the booth and see Mark and I, we had some great news things that hadn't been seen previously, as well as some old favorites. And the biggest thing that I enjoy the most about shows like that is getting to talk to you and hearing what you're working on and getting me excited to get back to my workshop and work on my own layout. So one more round of shout outs, and then we're going to get started. We're going to be talking about Athearn Roundhouse tonight. So I see Bruce, Ronald, Glenn Power Williams, Jason, Wardell, Sid is ready for Thanksgiving, Wolfgang 548 from New Jersey, Austin is here, and Randall as well. We've got about 69, 70 people on board tonight. So I'm thinking there's probably a lot of you that may be traveling. If you're in the United States, you're probably getting ready for Thanksgiving. So I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Keep it safe. And without further ado, let's get started with some model train goodness. We're going to start tonight by talking about the Athearn Roundhouse F7A. Now, recently, this model has been upgraded, and we'll talk about those upgrades here in a moment. But it sure is a lot different than the blue box era F7 that I had as a younger modeler. There's been a lot of improvements, including making it ready for DCC, a lot of scale refinements, and just overall a much better locomotive than it was when it debuted back in the 1950s. Now, the model that you see on your screen currently, this one is available. This Evans F7A, painted up for the Southern Railway, number 4207, is available at your hobby dealer right now. Now, the item number for this model is RND 3208. Again, that is RND 3208, and these are available right now at your Athearn authorized dealer. Now let's go ahead and start talking about the F units and the roads that we're offering for the month of November, and you've only got a few more days. In fact, the day after Thanksgiving here in the US is the last day to place the pre-orders on these following models. So let's dig in. Starting at the top of your screen, you'll notice CSX. This is CSX in the YN2 1990s era paint scheme. And we're offering two road numbers for CSX, 116 as well as 118. So if you need to run one of those special business trains, you can do that with these two here. Again, CSX 116 and 118. Now, in the middle there, you'll see the Reading and Northern. This is a 2019 era locomotive. Now, a little bit of background. The 270 and 275 were rebuilt approximately 15 years ago by Norfolk Southern Railroad at their Altoona, Pennsylvania engine shops for executive train travel on the NS system. The 270 was originally built for Baltimore and Ohio, and the 275 for Chicago Great Western. By late 2019, Norfolk Southern auctioned the engines, and the Reading and Northern became their new home. The two diesels, F9A number 270 and F7B number 275, were received by the RNN, and in late December of 2019, they were repainted in the new RNN paint scheme that you see here. Now, a couple of things. This is Roundhouse. So we're going to take a few liberties on some of these paint schemes. Yes, the 270 is technically an F9A, but this is a suitable stand-in. Now, a lot of people have asked us on social media if we're offering a B unit to go with it. Not at this time. This is just available as the F unit itself. Now, coming up next is the Clinchfield, and this is a rather new paint scheme too. It's 2017. Now, the Clinchfield's first diesel locomotive, F3A number 800, has been restored to its original paint scheme by the CSX Corporation's Huntington's Locomotive Shop in West Virginia. Built in December of 1948 and often referred to as an F5A, 800 was upgraded to an F7 by the Clinchfield and retained for special passenger train operations. Now, later it wore Family Line system as well as Seaboard system paint, and it also had a lengthy career operating as CSX number 116, wearing two different CSX paint schemes. After retirement from the mainline service, it was painted as Chesapeake, Ohio number 8016, and recently acquired by Southern Appalachia Railway Museum based in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Early in 2017, a deal was made between the SARM and CSX for 800 to return to its original Clinchfield paint and serve as part of the 75th annual Clinchfield Santa train operation. Now, this operates on the CSX's former Clinchfield main line between Shelby, Kentucky, and Kingsport, Tennessee. Now, that September, the unit was shipped in C&O colors from Spencer, North Carolina, where it had been stored since the Streamliners at Spencer event back in 2014 at the North Carolina Transportation Museum. It was transported to CSX Locomotive Shop in Huntington, where it received bodywork and paint and emerged in its Clinchfield colors, as you can see here. So here we are offering Clinchfield number 800 as it appears from 2017 until now. Coming up, folks of the Northeast are probably happy to see the return of Boston and Maine. Now we're offering two road numbers of the Boston and Maine F7As, 4266 and 4268. Now, if you've looked at the literature for the Roundhouse locomotives, you may have been scratching your head a little bit because the era selection is 1949 to 1969 and then again 2022. Well, let me explain that real quick. From 1949 to 1969, these locomotives wore what was referred to as the Minuteman paint scheme. As you can see, the logo is a famous Revolutionary War emblem of the Minuteman. It wore that for roughly 20 years before finally getting a new paint scheme, albeit somewhat plain, called the Allen Dustin Blue Dip. Now, these locomotives would work on the Boston and Maine in this subdued color scheme for another few years before finally being retired. And then in 2022, a famous railway museum not too far from where I live actually had these restored and painted in their original colors. Now, keen-eyed people will probably realize that at one point, one of these locomotives had silver trucks. That was quickly repainted back to black, and they are now, as they appear on that famous museum's grounds from 2022 till current day. Next, we have for 1980 era, the Seaboard system. There are two locomotive numbers here as well, 116 as well as 118. And then for you Chicagoland passenger aficionados, we're offering two 1993 era Metro locomotives, number 305 and 308. If you're looking for 1970s freight hauling locomotives, but want something with some flair, well, the F unit definitely will fit the bill. Here we have the Rock Island and its famous fire engine red and yellow paint scheme. 1972 is the era that we've given this, and we're offering two road numbers for this particular paint scheme, 676 as well as 677. Then, staying just a few years above that, 1976 on up, we have an early Conrail locomotive. Pretty plain, but we actually had a great response to these, and we had a lot of people hitting up our product suggestion email for this era of Conrail locomotive. Here we present to you Conrail number 1826. We didn't stop there though. We went ahead and we did an Athearn version of the F7A. This is Athearn 2024. It's purely fictitious, but we know there's a market out there for collectible Athearn locomotives, and we wanted to put the F unit in there as well. And along with that, we are also offering a matching Christmas ornament. Now, to go further a little bit on the Christmas ornament, these can be ordered directly through your hobby shop or at Horizon.com. Now, the Athearn F7 certainly has a history that can be traced back all the way to the 1950s. Over the years, the Athearn F7 has worn some of the most iconic paint schemes of famous railroads, both past and present. From the iconic Santa Fe war bonnet to the utilitarian Penn Central Black, it is a safe assumption to say that the Athearn F7 has probably logged more miles on model railroads than the actual prototype did on prototype roads. Recently, this tried and true model was updated and retooled to 21st century standards, which now guarantees a new generation to enjoy this model. Since model trains and the holidays go hand in hand, the Athearn team thought it would be perfect to offer this iconic model as a holiday ornament for 2024. Enjoy both the model and the ornament each holiday season and for years to come. And I want to take the opportunity to say from the Athearn crew, we wish you season's greetings. Now, again, you can pick these up. $19.99 is the cost of the ornament. There are limited numbers, so you might want to get those ornaments sooner than later. I think they are going to be starting to be delivered the first week of December, so that's not very long. But you can get those through your Athearn dealer as well direct with horizonhobby.com. Let's talk about the features of the F7A. We're going to go back to that Southern locomotive as an example. So since the old days, this model has been updated, starting with the one that you see on your screen. That's the first release. There's subsequent releases. I believe we're on the fourth release with this announcement. All of these have new body tooling. They're based on an EMD F7 Phase 1 early, which roughly translates to one of the most common versions ever produced. These have a revised frame with heavy die-cast weight and provision for a 21-pin DCC decoders. One thing that the original didn't have, flush-fitting cab, porthole, and rear window glass. This also has an improved all-wheel electrical pickup with 2 wires at each truck, which will provide you with reliable current flow. Depending on the prototype, you will have a single or a dual headlight, separately applied horns, McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers, all-wheel drive with precision gears for smooth and quiet operation, 5-pole motor with precision machined flywheels and multi-link drivetrain for trouble-free operation. Now these are fully assembled and ready to run out of the box. They're painted and printed for realistic decoration. In the highly detailed injection molded body, you'll notice there aren't any molded grab irons on this model or lift rings. However, if you look carefully, you can detail these if you like. There are small dimples in the areas where those details would be attached. One must simply drill a number 80 hole in there, and they can add a detail kit to their heart's content. Now, the minimum radius on these locomotives is 18 inches, so even if you just have a basic 4x8 layout, you can certainly enjoy one of these, or enjoy one of these with some sectional track under your Christmas tree this season. So there you have it. There is the F7A by Athearn Roundhouse. Let's take a moment and see if anyone has any questions about this model. A lot of folks are really liking that Southern model, and who wouldn't? That is a really cool paint scheme. Rogan says, the EMDF unit diesel locomotive has to be the most commonly used diesel on any layout or circle, going back the years in all scales. Iconic style. It certainly is. Let's see what else we've got here. Jason says, the museum here in Chattanooga had an F7B, and I remember seeing the R&N when they were Norfolk Southern coming down on the CNO and TP. CSX 116 and 118 were using road railer service. Yes, they were. Actually got to have that conversation with someone this weekend at the show. Let's see. Rick Schmidt says, is Chicago Northwestern in the plans for these? Not this run, but I have great news for you. The Chicago Northwestern is actually available right now. So go to athearn.com and type in the search function F7A, and you will see that they are available now, or contact your Athearn dealer. We do have Chicago Northwesterns in stock and shipping to dealers. DG Model Works says the F7 brings back memories of my modeling youth. Boy, does it ever. I think I still have my dad's Globe F7A as well as two of my Blue Box F7As. Glenn wants to know, will you be offering passenger cars to go with these next month? Not next month, but we do have some coming in eventually. I don't have the date for you, but they're based on the old Streamliners that we offered many, many years ago, and they just go together with these like peanut butter and jelly. Let's see. Any other questions that we have while I was talking during the presentation? Randall really likes the Rock Island one. And Terry says he's already pre-ordered the Rock Island ones. That is great. Let's see what else we've got for questions. Here's a great story. Terry says that Rock Island unit is sharp. Too bad that you can't get the giant UP plow that came with it. Holgate and Reynolds used to offer the right plow, but they've been out of business sadly for years. Yeah, that's too bad. However, you might be lucky. You might find a hobby shop somewhere or an old train show that might have some of that old stock in there. A couple of suggestions here. Errol wants to know, via rail in the older scheme, yellow, blue, and red or black. Yeah, if there is a road name that we have not chosen yet in the fourth run, please do yourself a favor, go and send us an email. You can send that email to athearn-productsuggestions@athearn.com. You won't get a response. That is just a data collection point, but there is a good chance that if we get another an email from you as well as emails from others, that we might be able to produce that in the next run. Got a few new comments that have joined. Let's see what kind of questions we have. Anything that's ETAs, we can wait till the end of the show. So try to hold on to those to the end of the show. We're talking about the F7A right now. Ted says he's ordered the Athearn 2024 F7A. That is awesome. Thank you for your order. Sid says Ohio Central ran F7s back in the early days. There you go. So get us an email. Maybe we'll do those in the future. Delta 9 says he saw the F7 on the shelf at Lombard. Yes, Lombard does have these in stock. So you can go ahead and if you shop with Lombard, you can definitely order them from him. Any sneak peeks for next month's announcement? Maybe later. Maybe later. Terry says he loves these units. Yeah, I'm really happy with these. In fact, the next run that's due in probably just before, just after the Amherst show, we've got some undecks coming in. So for you guys that have been asking for undecks, here is your chance. You can finally paint these models the way you want them, detail them as detailed as you like, and they are great running locomotives. You can put a decoder in them, so you can detail them to your heart's content. And right now, we tried to get these as economical as possible to help you guys out. All right, let's turn our attention to the next item. And this is the Athearn Roundhouse 50-foot exterior post high cube plug door boxcar. Say that 5 times fast. Now, the Roundhouse 50-foot high cube plug door boxcar is based on a common type of boxcar that began appearing in large numbers in the late 1970s. Now, such cars required greater overhead clearance to operate safely. However, they boasted greater cubic capacity than the comparable standard height boxcars at the time. Generally, these cars would carry canned goods, finished rolls of paper, appliances, furniture, and lumber. So there's many different destinations these cars can go to. Now, Roundhouse models do have most of their details molded on. However, if you're doing an operating session and you're not too inclined to have some of your more overly enthusiastic folks to use the uncoupler pick to slowly tick away some of those details on your Athearn or Genesis models, you can definitely use these as a stand-in. Likewise, these are economical models, so they're perfect for younger modelers, and perfect for even just running under the Christmas tree with that F7A. Now, the model you see on your screen currently, this is the Co-Rail Incorporated. Its road number is 119766. We're completely out of these at Athearn, and there's a possibility you may still see them at some hobby shops. However, this is from a previous run, and they're no longer in stock. That being said, if you'd like to know what the item number for this model is, it is RND 1516. Again, it's RND 1516. Now let's talk about the roads that we're going to offer for the month of November. Now, for each road that you see here listed tonight, there's going to be 3 different road numbers. Keep in mind those road numbers are all different, so you don't have to worry about duplicating road numbers. We're going to start with a 2020 era car at the top of the page there. It's the Laurenburg and Southern. Now, the reporting marks on this car are LRS, and the car pictured is 100068. Additionally, we'll offer 2 other singles, and those road numbers will be 10000099 and 100105. 2010 era. Union Pacific is right there in the middle. This is car number 910702. Additionally, we'll offer 2 other singles, 910704 and 910705. At the bottom of your screen, 2002 on up era. This is International Bridge and Terminal. Their reporting marks are IBT, and this is car number 18437. Additionally, 2 other singles will be offered, 18500 and 18666. For folks that are north of the United States border, we do have some Canadian for you. In this case, Canadian Pacific. This is a 2000s era car. The car that you see on your screen at the top is car number 215006. Additionally, we'll offer car numbers 215031 and 215105. Folks modeling the 1990s, we haven't forgotten you. Chicago Northwestern here is in the middle of the screen. This is car number 520007. Additionally, we'll offer car numbers 520080 and 520089. And then finally, for 2001 on up, we have another run of the Co-Rail Incorporated. Now, their reporting marks are CRLE, and this is car number 119718. Additionally, we'll offer numbers 119770 and 119783. Now let's talk about some of the features of this car. Going back to our Co-Rail Incorporated model. Now again, these are Roundhouse, so most details like your grab irons, they are molded on. There are no cut levers, there's no real underbody detail. These are Roundhouse. We're trying to make these economical for those looking for an economical HO scale model car. They do have a separate brake wheel. They do have body-mounted McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers. And of course, they do have machined wheels or metal wheels with RP25 contours. The minimum radius on these cars, and again, even if you've got a very simple 4x8 layout, you can run these on an 18-inch radius without having any issues whatsoever. So these are great cars to pick up. Maybe the car that you're looking for that's fully detailed for that industry that you need to spot next week for your next operating session is not available yet. This might make a good stand-in for it as well. So that being said, you've only got a few short days. Place your pre-orders on both the F7s as well as these Roundhouse box cars. That's November 29th, 2024. So Get those orders in, because before you know it, you don't want to have be semi-comatose from the turkey and forget that the hobby shop may or may not be open on Friday. Get your pre-orders in now, and then you won't be disappointed next year. Well, there you have it. That is the rest of the November announcements. And we finished up with the Athearn F units. I will tell you, I brought all of the Athearn F units from the first run to TrainFest, and they were an immediate hit. A lot of great comments on these models. And again, it's neat to have a value loaded budget economy F unit that you can run on your layout, whether it's just out of the box or something that you can use for fodder for detailing and painting later on. So with that, I'm going to stick around for a little bit and see what kind of questions that you have, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to it. Now that TrainFest is over and I got a long weekend coming, I'm really hoping I can get some work done on my layouts. Let's see what you guys have on your mind. Sid, when should the new Triclops units arrive? Well, good news. I'm hoping to have those by Amherst. It looks like we're going to get a shipment of those right at the very end of the year. We'll see what happens. We'll make sure that the ETAs are announced on the Athearn email newsletter, which reminds me, if you haven't signed up for the Athearn email newsletter, go ahead and go to our website, www.athearn.com, and sign up for this valuable tool. Every week, we let you know what pre-orders are open, what items are soon to arrive, or what items are actually in stock and shipping to dealers, plus other little news events and what Athearn is working on, what shows we're going to, and other useful information. So again, sign up for the Athearn email newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter. Usually comes out towards the end of the week and helps you stay up to date with everything that's going on at Athearn. Let's see. Sunflower Railroading says, hey, Jim, real excited for the Guilford wide cabs. Any chances for high hoods in a future run? Well, that's always a possibility. I don't know of anything in the immediate future, but if you are really in love with that idea, feel free to send us an email at athearn-product-suggestions@athearn.com. Let's see what else we've got here. Somebody's noticed the Athearn poster behind me. That was something that we were working on. Actually, John, our lead developer, took that picture and I turned it into a poster just for the studio. So thank you for that, and you can thank John for that. Let's see what else we've got for questions. Ronald wants to know an update on the ST70 ACU CP6644. That will be next fall. We should start seeing those locomotives next fall. We're still about a year out on those. We announced them fairly recently. Bruce, I don't have an update for you on the UP Early Challengers. There has been some work done, additional work than what we anticipated, so they are delayed. We're trying to get those done before the end of 2025. So there has been a slight setback, a challenge, but our product development guys are working on it. And so slight delay there. Sorry for the disappointment. What is on the water right now? Well, I don't have anything on the water right now, but I can tell you this. Starting today at Athearn, we did have a shipment that was going out to dealers. Now, if you were at TrainFest, you probably noticed a table right in the back of our booth. Everything that was on that table was shipping to dealers. Now, briefly, what was shipping were the steam locomotives, the 280s. Let's see, there's Denver, Rio Grande, Southern, Great Northern, and let's see what else. Virginia and Truckee and Union Pacific. Those are shipping at dealers right now. ST40T-2s are shipping to dealers right now. ST40s, including those undecorated versions, those are shipping to dealers right now. We've also got some 60-foot boxcars that are shipping to dealers, and a couple of Fords for you. The Ford C cab over tractors with the associated trailers are shipping, and the Ford F850 box trucks are now shipping to dealers. So that is going to help. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the steamers as well as the ST40T-2s. I'm pretty excited with the steamer. It was a great running locomotive. We had one running at the show, and even at Speed Step 1, it was very, very smooth. So if you've got one of those steamers on pre-order, you should be getting a call from your dealer soon. And I can't wait to get some track down on my HO layout so I can run mine a little bit more. Sid says, yes, I saw you show the SD40T-2s at TrainFest. That is correct. We had them there. We ran them a little bit. Christopher wants to know any update on the Genesis Santa Fe BX 172 box cars. Not at this time. There's a few projects that product development are working on. And while we're thinking about it, we might as well clear the air about the NSC cars. There's some NSC cars that the crew is working on, the 6000s, the 6400s, and the coil cars. All of those had some engineering challenges that we're working through, a little bit more than what we thought, but we're slowly getting through that. Product development has told me that as soon as they have some updates, they will get that out to us so that you know what's going on about those. Brian wants to know any plans on doing smaller steam locomotives such as an 040. Well, I can tell you, Brian, right now we don't have any plans to do that in the immediate future. However, that being said, we get a lot of email requests for two different types of steam locomotives, and that is the medium-sized locomotives as well as the small switcher-style locomotives. Now, the beauty of steam nowadays, especially in HO, in the old days, HO scale steam was kind of hit or miss. Nowadays, though, with modern motors, modern gearing, and especially DCC, these small steam locomotives are so much more efficient. They run so much smoother. So it is something that we're looking into. At some point, we do want to look at maybe small switcher style steam locomotives as well as medium sized steam locomotives. We've done a pretty good job of hitting everything with the big steam. Now it's time to start looking at other sizes. Jeff wants to know any update on the Amtrak California cars. Yes, I found out on Friday through product development and my boss Mark that we're wrapping up some details on the decoders. As soon as those decoders are made, the factory will be ramping up production on those. Now, I don't have an ETA for you on those because working on the decoders, that's a back and forth between ourselves and Soundtracks, but I do know that they, both sides know it's a very hot project. So stay tuned to our social media as well as our newsletter. Hopefully we'll have some exciting dates for you in the coming months. Let's see what else we've got. Sid wants to know, is the website starting to reflect the delivery status? No, it is not. I am still working with the Horizon web team to integrate that more properly. Now, just briefly, we did have a software integration back last summer, and unfortunately, just because the nature of Athearn is a little bit different from everything else at Horizon, the software that would normally update the website on delivery dates and ETAs and things of that nature is not communicating well with it. Now, I can tell you in my previous meetings with the web team, they are working on making that software compatible with the website. So eventually we will have better ETAs. In the meantime, I know it's not as easy as going to a website, but in the meantime, we are watching social media and answering questions. We're also answering emails and answering questions on live forums such as this. And I'm also using the email newsletter to kind of give you guys a heads up of what's coming in and what's in stock. Let's see what other questions we have, and then I'm going to let you guys get back to some modeling. And some of you probably might even some traveling for the upcoming holiday. Let's see. Raymond, I don't know of any N-scale intermodal rolling stock in the immediate future, but 2025 does have some new projects in it, so you never know what we're going to be working on next. Let's see, going back a little bit to see if there are any questions from earlier that I may have missed. Yes, BN Green, that's a neat update. I should put that up there. Speaking of Blue Box, if you get Model Railroader, the current issue has initial inductees into the Model Railroad Hall of Fame. This includes Irv Athearn for his development of Blue Box kits. I wonder if Irv would have realized when he started those kits way back when that it would turn into what it is today. Now, technically, we don't have Blue Box kits anymore. We've evolved. Now we have three brands. We've got our Roundhouse introductory locomotives and freight cars, and then we've got Athearn, and then of course we've got Genesis, the top tier, based on the prototype. So, yeah, neat little tidbit of history there. A lot of you probably caught the new announcement um, at TrainFest. We announced two brand new projects: the Pullman Standard cars, as well as the SD60. Now, many of you probably saw the SD50 this past summer and thought, the logical link in this chain is going to be an SD60, and you're right. We had for years many people asking for a Genesis version of the SD60. Now, before I go on, I want to let everybody know that the SD60 is ground up brand new model. It's not just a warmed over, rehashed, ready to roll SD60. This is all new tooling. So the shell itself is all new tooling. Everything is accurate based on the prototype, and you're going to have the lighting features that you're now used to, such as ground lights, number boards, classification lights if the prototype had them, and of course you're going to have all that detail that you're used to now. So looking forward to seeing those come through pretty soon. Let's see what other questions we've got. Jason, I saw that interesting comment on our social media. Jason's basically saying Car Driver posted an online story where they tested an EMD SD60 in Kansas City Southern. Yes, that is pretty cool. Charles Woods wants to know, hey Jim, will there be any auto rack train cars in N scale in the future? Not in the immediate future. Not in the immediate future. I don't think we're going to have anything like that for a little bit. Andrew says, still need parts to repair models. Yes, Andrew, we are aware. We are working with purchasing so that we can get those parts. In fact, I believe they've put in an order in the last week just before TrainFest. So we should be seeing parts come through our service center here real soon. All right. Randall, I'm going to let you take this one since I didn't hear it all weekend at TrainFest. I'm impressed. Usually when I go to a show, I have at least one person say bring back Blue Box, but instead we had to come to Train Tuesday for it. Randall says it would be cool to see the Blue Box kits return, but I know kits aren't really the in thing anymore with most model train lovers nowadays. Partially correct. There are other kits out there that are very similar to the Blue Box era of kits, and actually they're much better kits out there than the Blue Box kits. However, those companies tend to focus on those type of models. For the most part, you're sort of correct. There are still plenty of people out there that enjoy building a kit. I do for one, but I can tell you that unfortunately, because of my busy work schedule and just life in general, I don't get the time that I used to have to sit down and build even a simple Blue Box kit. Hence my closet in the other room filled with them. But I do sometimes have enough time to bang out a little bit of modeling, and that's usually on the layout, and that's where both Roundhouse, Athearn, and Genesis models really shine. You can spend time on your layout and simply weather the products that we sell for you. Now, that doesn't mean that kits are going to go out of style. There's someday, maybe I'll have time to sit down and build some of those kits, but for now, I'm just going to have to keep relying on Athearn and other manufacturers to have their ready to run models for me. Let's do one more question, and I'm going to let you get back to it. Let's see. I'm going to end with Bradley because this is something he's going to want to know. Any new Mac equipment? So you've been hearing me for well over a year now say we've been working on licensing with Mac. I'm happy to say that the Mac licensing is going really well. So I'm hoping that we're going to start seeing some new Mac models here in the future. I don't have an ETA for you, but I just wanted to let you know that it is moving in the positive direction. And that's always good when you're talking about licensing. So hopefully you and me and everyone else out there will have some new Mac models in the future for our HO and N scale layouts. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for coming on board tonight. And Brian, I see your comment about the layout. Well, you'll have to check out a personal channel when I have the time to make it, and maybe we'll do that someday. But until the next Train Tuesday, I want everyone out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe. Happy Thanksgiving. And if you have a long weekend, go ahead, do some modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care, everyone.